for about an hour and a half.
And we have like 5-minute break right now, or what?
We're starting now. We're going to start now. I can take an intermission in a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, let's do an intermission. Short one.
Okay, we'll do an intermission. We'll do an intermission in about 30 minutes. Let's go to commercial.
It's the California Recall Debate, hosted by Yes California.
We're very proud, Bill Hensley, 30 to 45-year Broadway star, who's done almost every single Broadway play known, wrote that little jingle for us to highlight this citizens interaction. This is the Yes California Recall Candidates Debate. Yes California, we've managed to host debates with 25% of all of the declared candidates, and now we're up to 30% of all of the ballot access candidates. That means 1/3 of everybody who will be on the election and on your ballot. You can only see here at Yes California and find out who they are, what they think about, and why they might be the right choice for the next governor. Yes California is pleased to provide more debates with more candidates than anyone in California so that we can provide a service to you, the public, since you're going to be making a decision on who will manage this quasi-nation state. For today, we have an excellent show. We have reached out to these candidates, and you're going to be seeing them today. The California Recall Debate, women candidates only. Jackie Mcgowan, a Democrat. Holly Beatty, a Democrat. Rhonda Furin, a Republican, said she would be here. Maybe she'll join us. Heather Collins, a Green Party candidate, is here. And Sarah Stevens, a Republican, said she would join us, and perhaps she'll be here. We also reached out to Angeline. We received no response. We reached out to Jenny Ray LaRue. She said that she would be participating in debates with us earlier and then never responded. We are pleased to bring about 80% of all of the women candidates to you. And I would also like to point out, as the son of a single mother, it's a privilege to be able to do this. If you watch the televised debates, they're all men. Basically, where are the women candidates? There's more women in California than men. Why are there not more women on televised debates than men? Odd. Glad to represent the demographics of this place where we live. And the question I would ask all of you in the public, how come Yes California is the only organization to have debates that actually show the diversity of California and nobody else can literally pull that off? I don't know. Question to ponder. Well, we have a variety of questions from you for you taken from the Legislative Analyst Office. The Legislative Analyst Office is the arm that researches all bills for the California legislature. We looked at their policies from 2015 to 2021. We're also pulling questions from the Public Policy Institute of California, the official university arm. These are not my questions. These were not developed by Yes California. They were taken from top policy analysts. Today, Christine Howard Ishmawi, a Yes California member, will be taking over my role as moderator. She has my full faith and confidence, and she's very much a dedicated person who doesn't allow chaos in her own house, so I hope everybody will be respectful for her. I will be operating time and secretary functions while Christine drives us through the questions. You'll be seeing a series of questions, and we'll go from there. Christine, before we kick it off with questions, I'd like to allow each candidate to do a 1-minute introductory statement. Is that okay with you, Christine?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go in order of appearance on my screen. I'm going to go Beatty, Collins, Mcgowan. So Beatty, Collins, McGowan, we'll go in that order. 1-minute introduction, and then we'll go to questions started by Christine. Holly Beatty, in 1 minute, why are you the right choice for the governor of 40 million people, the world's 5th largest economy, and as our last 3 governors call it, a virtual nation state on the world stage? Candidate Beatty.
Thank you so much, Marcus. And I just wanted to say really quickly that I really believe that the answer to your question about being the only um, news source that is sharing all of the diversity, including the women's candidates, is because you're willing to say yes to diversity, to creativity, and to free speech. So thank you very much for doing so. I am Holly Beatty. I am California's governor for the people. I am interested in primarily raising up people's voice. I am focused on transparency in government. I believe it's very important for all of the people in California to know exactly where our resources are coming from, our monetary resources, our environmental resources, and our workforce, and what is allowing them to have the willpower to work and the inspiration to work or not, and where that's going. And I think we really need to leverage all of that public information, but to put it into a form that people can really see in one glimpse, or uh, to totally comprehend it, because right now I don't think that people in California can make informed decisions. There's so much obscurity. If you focus on a person, you're not really looking at the processes of the state. And that's what I will bring and I will highlight as the governor of our state. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Let's go next to Candidate Collins. Candidate Collins, you're a Green Party candidate and you're relatively new to running for office. Why should 40 million people think that you're the right choice to virtually rule over them with the incredible powers that the governor operates with? Candidate Collins.
Well, thank you for having me. And I am new to the Green Party because I was a Democrat for 20 years and I am not happy the way the Democratic governing is going on right now. But I am a business owner. I'm a successful business owner. I know how to run things. I know how to be fiscally conservative. I am also a single mother of 2 adult children, and I have been personally and professionally impacted by Newsom's mandates. And I work with all kinds of people, and I listen, and I can make decisions. This is governorheather.com.
Nice, short and succinct. Candidate Mcgowan, in 1 minute, why are you the top choice for governor? And let me unmute you. I'm sorry. Candidate Mcgowan.
Hi, Marcus, and thank you for having me. I can't tell you what a relief it is to be amongst women stepping forward to take on this challenge. I can't wait to swap stories with you one day. And I just came from a panel of all men, and it got heated, because I was the first one to get talked over, just like all of us do in every business meeting that we get into. And so it was fun, and I was mocked, and I held my ground. And so if you guys are going through what I'm going through, girls, let's join a club. Let's go write a book after this is done, because we are going to inspire women all over the world. This has been the hardest challenge, fitting a 2-year campaign into 68 days, and I wouldn't change any of it. And it's been magical. And we are going to make more women step forward, and we're going to cause a revolution. Let's go.
That was outstanding. I'm going to turn it over to Christine. Christine's going to ask the series of questions. Christine, I'm going to turn off my camera for this reason. It's really not about me. It's about women. So I'm here to serve you, back you up, Christine. Let's start with the first question. And Christine is going to ask you the questions. She's going to give a background. I will be timekeeper. Christine, how do you feel about the first question? 1.5 minutes per candidate or just 1 minute? What's your call?
Let's do 1.5 minutes.
1.5 minutes per candidate, done. I will watch for that. And the first question, take it away, Christine.
So we all know California has a history of being progressive, especially with women's rights. A decade before the 19th Amendment was signed, giving women the right to vote, California granted its women the right to vote. So the issue is, today, we only have a 32% female representation in our caucus, which is one of the largest in the nation. So what, according to the Public Policy Institute of California, how do you increase women representation in Sacramento?
First up will be Candidate Beatty.
Thank you so much, Marcus. I think what's really important to understand is, just as candidate Jackie just stated and shared, somewhat through humor, but also definitely with sincerity, California, just like the rest of our nation, is really not progressive when it comes to women's rights. I disagree with that statement. My entire career as a leader in government, state government, and an educator, and as a business owner, has been fraught. That's the word from right from the Lord of the Rings. Fraught has been fraught with constant. First is just overlooking the validity of being in the room. That's the first thing, which is very, very subtle. The second thing is not really even hearing the words that women say. It's like, la, 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 la. Oh, did you say something? You know? And right? And then third is maybe your question, which has to do with positions of empowerment, positions of formal authority, leadership, elected officials, managers, supervisors. When we try to reach certain benchmarks with percentages or numbers, we're missing the mark entirely. We need to focus on changing our culture from the bottom up. It starts, my friends, with little girls when they are received into the family. Who's ever heard of that? Let's be a good girl. What does that mean? That means to be a quiet girl. That means to, right, not be in your free spirit, not be who you really are. I think we are all done with being good girls. We can be good. We can be truthful. We can be beautiful. We can be intelligent. And we do not need to fit in someone's box. I think the main thing that we need in order to increase our representation of women in our state is to begin to raise up our daughters from the very beginning. And I would like to start there. Thank you so much.
We're going to go to 2 minutes per candidate, just to be fair. Next up will be candidate Collins. In 2 minutes, how would you respond?
Well, I am honored to be in this group also. So I just want to appreciate everybody here, all the ladies, and also all the men that are running against Newsom right now. But I was surprised to be invited to some debates because I was expecting to be overlooked like I usually am in anything that I do. Even in my business, I run a hair salon, and we have one male that works here, and everybody that comes in thinks he's the one that owns the salon. So I'm used to being overlooked. And to get more women involved and everything, like I've never run for office before. So this was a huge leap of faith for me. And it's a good start to, part of the process, running for governor. And it's a big leap. Like there's many things that people can do on a more local level and city level and everything like that. But this is part of the process. So I am so happy to be in this race. Thank you.
Okay. Next up, candidate Mcgowan.
I'm so grateful to be here. This is such a better event than the previous one, where you guys all know, what we go through as women in business, and to be on a stage with women that are fighting through all of those challenges on top of the challenges of this, hurried up race. I think we are all authentic here. And that's refreshing. Like I can come up with solutions when people really have their hearts in it. And I know we're increasing women representation right now. The majority of people that helped me get here were women, and there's a lot of really incredible things going on in my world, and I can't wait to share all of it one day, but now I gotta get through it. And I gotta hit the road soon and start, rallying my base. And it's getting exciting, This experience has changed me. And I told the press the other day that a pickle can't go back to being a cucumber. And now that I've examined all of these other issues after evolving from being a one issue platform, I realized I really do care about people, and I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't. I wouldn't have stuck it out because it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I just keep going, and I want other women too. So like, yeah, we have to share this with everyone. We are going to inspire women all over the country. I know it.
Okay, Christine, that's the first question. We're done with the first question.
Okay.
Christine.
So for the next question, let's try to keep it to a minute for a response.
Done.
Okay. So there were 2 polls taken by the PPIC. Sorry. I'm sorry. A poll was taken from the PPIC, asked if Governor Newsom was recalled from office. Would it be better for California, worse, or no difference? Women responded at 24% better, 40% worse, and then at 28% no difference. The question from the data is, do women support the recall of Governor Newsom? Candidate Beatty, would you like to start?
Sorry. You are unmuted, Candidate Beatty.
Wait, there we go. Okay, starting my 1 minute right now.
Starting.
This is a very easy question for me. I think that they essentially asked the wrong question. They should have asked, do we think California would be better led by a woman governor than the current consistent old boy network that has been in place for so long, that is obviously running our state into the ground with rampant homelessness, fires that can't be put out or prevented, water that's being lost. Obviously, our governors don't know how to nurture anything. So the first question is, right? We can all agree that it's time to have somebody that understands how to nurture the earth, how to nurture our souls, how to nurture people in a leadership position, in the top leadership position. You want to know how to get more women in leadership roles? Elect a woman governor right now.
Thank you.
Candidate Collins?
Well, in my business, like I said before, I've been greatly impacted by Newsom's mandates. We were closed down. We're licensed by the state in sanitation, basically, but we were still closed down while the medical marijuana store right next door was able to stay open. So that's impacted me. It impacted all the women that work here and my clients also. And I know a lot of other women that have businesses. They were all impacted. And it's very few people that I've actually talked to, women that want to keep Newsom in office. And the only reason that they do want to keep him in office, the small amount that do, is because he's so good looking. And, they don't even really care about his policies as much. But, I am concerned about homelessness and crime and people not being able to afford housing and the massive amounts of people that are leaving the state.
Thank you. Candidate Mcgowan?
I think a lot of women do support the recall of Newsom. And I don't know that it's even because of what he's done, but it's been what women have had to take on during COVID. Women really are the unsung heroes of the pandemic. And, they had to bring their businesses home. So they used to get a 45-minute commute, at least, one way and back, where they had some alone time. And then that was taken from them. And then they had to bring their businesses into their house. And then they had to maintain their home. And then they had to homeschool their kids. And then they finally got a little bit of a break. And then their kids were off for the summer again. And so they're not even watching the news because they can't handle one more straw. No, not again, nothing more. Please don't tell me I have to bring my kids home again. Please don't tell me that my business is going to suffer again. Please don't tell me I have to depend on more government aid to stay alive. No more, right? And so people are tuned out of this election, and women more so than men. And this is how we change it. We put a woman in that seat.
Thank you.
So prior to the recession, men and women had similar unemployment numbers. But by the April of the COVID crisis, there was a 3% gender gap. Evidence shows that majority of the increase in unemployment and underemployment is due to women in low-income communities not having opportunities. From the PPIC data, why are there more unemployed women than men in California, and how do you fix this? Candidate Beatty, would you like to start?
Sure, thank you so much. Well, I think candidate Jackie Mcgowan just had some real good insights into that. We are we're earners, so we either own our own business or we work for others, but we also often are nurturers, and we're having the children in our home. And during the time of the pandemic, we all have to understand that if you have to work, but you also have to take care of your children, you're going to take care of your children first, and then you're going to figure out the money around that. You're going to be there for them. You're going to make sure that they have what they need first. That's what we do. We make sure that the men in our lives have what they need, and then the children have what they need, and that the people that we work for and report to have what they need, and then maybe the cat and the dog have what they need, you know, and then the watering and the plants, like everything is going to get what they need, and then we're going to get what we need, right? And so we're going to work in the middle of the night if we need to, after everybody's gone to bed, or we're going to get up at, I don't know who else gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do their own reading of inspiring material and do a little bit of fitness for yourself. We are what holds the community together, and we are the source of inspiration to bring our communities into a stronger place in a leadership position, because we know what's required, and we can endure, and we can find courage, and we understand that the fabric of our community and the health of our state rests with women. It's atrocious that we have the unemployment rate that we do. We should be immediately giving help to all people that need it right now without any hiccups whatsoever, but especially women, especially mothers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Candidate Collins?
Thank you. I believe also that women are the caregivers, and they have been sandwiched between taking care of their elderly parents or grandparents and taking care of their children and homeschooling them. And they're afraid of the pandemic, where they might, if they're working like at a restaurant or a supermarket or something like that, because those are the people that lost their jobs anyway. And they're afraid that all the people coming into their businesses are going to spread COVID to them, and then they'll take it home to their families. So they have maybe stopped working because of that, while their husbands go out, or, you know, their boyfriends go out and make the money. And, you know, it's not fair for the women. They're usually the lower income people. They're in the lower positions, and those are a lot of the businesses that also closed. So, you know, they're stuck that way. Kids are supposed to go back to school tomorrow in LA County, and, you know, it could change. It's a day-to-day thing. It's like, are they going back? Are they not going back? Can I go back to work? Are they only going to be in class like 2 hours a day? That sort of thing. So it's hard to schedule work around all these other things. So it's a complicated issue, and there'll be more information on my website at governorheather.com in a few days.
Thank you. Candidate Mcgowan?
Wow. Couldn't agree with everything that's been said so far. And, you know, how we bring women more jobs. I'm going to give an example of just a few days ago. Holly, you gave a speech in Nevada County and you stood up for the cannabis industry there. And that was, you know, something that was near and dear to my heart, because I work in the cannabis industry, and it's what drove me to run. And you said all the right words, and you tried to help preserve local jobs there. Majority of the growers out in Nevada county, they are women. And so you did it, like you did the, basic. And then how we fix it is we put a woman in charge of the Department of Labor. Boom. Let's go get some jobs.
Okay.
Thank you. So this question also about a minute and a half.
Okay.
So, Secretary Ramirez of the California Business Consumer Services Housing Agency reported that her agency received 25,000 applications for rental assistance. Out of that, there were 80% were low-income women. Of those women, they made below 30% of the local median income for their area. From the PPIC data, why are there more women who need rental assistance than men? And how do you fix this?
Beatty.
Beatty?
Okay, thank you so much. When I am the governor of the state of California, this will not be an issue. We will have immediate universal basic income. We are experiencing a state of emergency, but it's not due to an initiative on the part of criminals to depopulate our planet and to cause harm to health and happiness of humanity. We are having a state of emergency because of criminality in our leadership and also because of the degradation of our infrastructure for housing, for employment, and for so much more. And with regard to this issue, when I am the governor, we will have a universal basic income of $5,000 given to every person. What I mean by that is that if someone's making $2,000 already, they'll get $3,000. We're going to raise everybody's basic income to $5,000. That's not going to cost the taxpayers more money. Wonderful business owners are not going to have, small, medium-sized business owners are not going to be taxed. In fact, they're going to have zero tax, zero sales tax. I am talking about a revolutionary way to support our communities and make sure that everybody has basic housing and their needs taken care of without needing to ask or feel shame.
Thank you.
Candidate Collins?
Thank you. Those statistics are shocking, but I think generally the lower income wages are jobs that are held by women. And my thing is that education is the key to ending systemic poverty. If we educate people, and it doesn't have to be a four-year college or anything like that, but trade schools and entrepreneurship, things like that, get them focused to be able to make a good living. And the opportunities are here in the United States for that, and especially in California, where there's been innovation and wide open opportunities before the pandemic. I'm an immigrant myself, and I have benefited from living here. I'm from Northern Ireland, and my life would be completely different if I was living there. So education is the key to ending systemic poverty. We need to get the communities behind the kids and raise everybody up. Everybody needs to do better than their generation before. And I think that's what will really change things for women.
Thank you. Candidate Mcgowan?
So it became more costly to go to work, for a low wage job, when you have your kids at home and you have to homeschool them and maintain a home and travel and, make less money. And, it was a recipe for disaster for low income jobs. And like my predecessor said, most of those are held by women. And so we fixed this, like I said, I really like the idea of putting a woman in charge of the Department of Labor. I want to infiltrate some, different parts of government with women so we can get things done right. I couldn't believe the amount of technical difficulties I had getting here today. And it was, really difficult to like keep my cool on the men in my like camp. We got like 9 people here, and like they're sleeping all over the place. And I had a barn that was donated to my campaign, and we were making like the best of what we have. And I got mocked by a man on the previous panel about it. It's hilarious. So we've got to do more for women. We have to, like my predecessor said, trade schools, trades, in high school. I was fascinated with 4-H and wood shop and metal shop. And those experiences led me to believe that like I could make it in the real world and skip college. And I went right to Wall Street out of high school. And I became the youngest broker on the floor by the age of 24. And I spent 18 years, in Chicago and New York and in Wall Street, and then came back home and jumped into lobbying. And I became a local lobbyist for 7 years. And so like the inspiration coming from those types of things I learned in high school, I had some skills. And so I wanted to go test them. We need more of that. That's how we encourage women and make sure that we can, not have their like they don't need rental assistance because they're getting those jobs that men are getting.
Thank you.
Okay. Next one.
Going ahead.
No, that's you.
So there were 2 polls taken by the PPIC, essentially asking the same question, just worded differently. Existing civil rights laws currently protect people from discrimination in the areas of housing, employment, and public accommodation. The 2021 Equality Act would add sexual orientation and gender identity. Do you support the 2021 Equality Act? 76% of women said that they did support. The second poll was asked, which comes closer to your true feelings? Society has gone too far, not enough, or just about right when it comes to transgender rights. Not far enough said 43%, about right 36%, and 21% said too far. So the real question coming from the PPIC data is, do women support transgender equality in California? Candidate Beatty?
Thank you so much, Christine. I feel that it's really important to understand that this is an issue that feels, for me, like we're talking about something that should be so naturally given. We have so many challenges in our state, and when we get to the rights of individual liberty, for me, it's a question of, are we living into the ideals and the laws of our U.S. Constitution, which says that all people should be created equal? I'm not sure why we're having discussions around why should these people be created equal? Are they equal? Or to these ones, like, are we going too far if we include these people in that equality? Why are we having this conversation? I think more than anything, women understand that we need to support and nurture all people, and that we have a heart for that. I raise up and celebrate divine masculinity, divine men. I raise up and celebrate the divine feminine, divine women. And I raise up and celebrate the divine blended, those that feel that they have an attraction or are the other or are something of both. Because we come from a unity, we come from a oneness. We may feel that we are blended, but I do not understand the language of this transgender. So long as you're in a body, you're going to have gender. You're not going to be beyond a body. And where I question this language and also policy has to do with the embracing of corporate titans for transhumanism, and how they're using transgender rights as a doorway into transhumanism. And that's where I have to say no. I believe in humans. I believe in humanity. I believe that technology can be used for grace and for good. But while we raise up the divine blended, you will not have me say we should say that we are better off being part AI, like Elon Musk says. I say no to that and no to corporate titans that want to push us in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Collins?
All right. So do women support transgender equality in California? I absolutely do believe that women do support that. That has never been an issue with me or basically anybody I know. I'm the leading woman candidate in the Green Party, and it's a very open and inclusive party. I really don't give gender much of a thought at all because we work with all kinds of people. We include all kinds of people. I don't care, gay, straight, whatever nationality you are, whatever religion you are, it doesn't matter. Like, people are people. And if they're good people, that's all that matters. If they're bad people, then I really don't want to do much bad people.
Thank you. Candidate Mcgowan?
I couldn't agree more.
Bear with us. We're having some technical issues.
Shall I continue?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Yes, of course, we support transgender people. We support equality.
I'm sorry.
Walks of life.
I'm sorry that the candidate McGowan, the audio is not coming in clean. Maybe log out and log back in. Christine, are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you, candidate McGowan. Please log out, log in. That's the only way we know how to fix the tech issues. I'm sorry.
That's how I fix things. Plug back in.
And again, this is not the candidate's fault. They're calling in from Yolo County. You are literally seeing the lack of internet access from rural to urban in real time. Bear with us 1 minute for technical issues. We will bring this right back.
Can I ask the ladies one thing?
Sure, go on ahead.
Would you all like to meet for cocktails sometime and discuss things?
I'm happy to meet you anytime.
Including the men if they want.
Sure. I might choose cacao or tea instead of a cocktail, but I would love to meet in person. As a matter of fact, I think that's a great idea. Thank you so much for the invitation. Yeah, I think it's really important that we work together to highlight the importance of this recall.
No.
Yeah.
The most important thing is to recall Newsom.
I completely agree. Before any personal desire to win this election, I really hope that we all can rally and ensure that somebody that's honest is in this governor's seat.
Absolutely. And I'm very new at this, so I'm a little bit nervous on camera. So I think that's coming through in my voice. And when I'm passionate about things, I get emotional about it.
I noticed the emotion in your voice, but look how courageous you are. You're so courageous.
Thank you. Well, we're all courageous for doing this. And like I said, I thought it would be overlooked. So
no, it's not time to be overlooked anymore. That's the conditioning. That's the conditioning that we're given.
Exactly.
And that's what we begin to just accept as our normal, right? But this is time to be seen. It's time to be heard.
There we go.
Apologies. Thank you. I pretty much can wrap up that question and we can move on. Women absolutely support transgender equality. We support all equality, and like my predecessor said, women just and I think that we're the nurturers of everything that we do, we put ourselves last, don't we?
Okay.
Thank you. Our final question for today is, new state laws limit the use of male correctional officers in female institutions. Recently signed, AB 2550 was signed into the penal code. This seeks to protect female inmates from abuse, sexual assault, and inappropriate conduct by male guards. Historically, professional security guards or correctional officers have been male. Lately, the number of female officers has dwindled to 21%. From the Legislative Analyst Office from 2019, their data, the question is, why are there so few female correctional officers, and how do we make sure female inmates are not victimized by prison guards? Candidate Beatty?
Thank you so much for your question. I do want to say one thing that I've been noticing in all of the questions, and just speak to that for a moment. These questions are asking us as individual women what other women as a whole want or what they think, and it reminds me of it in itself is a way of being prejudiced and biased to a group of people. You know, just because we are individual women, that doesn't mean that we know what all women want. I can share what I see, and I can share with those women that I'm in relationship, or maybe even the polls. But it's just like saying, well, to a Black person, well, what do you think all Black? Or to a transgender person, what do you think all transgender? Well, what we really need to really understand is the importance of individual voice, instead of grouping people or labeling people into a category where we think we know who they are or what they think. And so we don't actually need to listen to their soul, their hearts. This is one thing that, as the governor of California, I'm definitely going to ensure that we change by creating a system that allows every voice of anyone that lives here to be heard in real time through technology that's totally available for this, and to allow those voices to actually impact policy, like the policy you're talking about right now with women prison guards or men prison guards. I personally don't think that a man has any business being a guard in a women's facility. I'm sorry. There's just way too much room for wanting to take advantage of a woman who is in a place of vulnerability and control. So thank you for calling this to my attention. I did not realize the discrepancies were so large, but you can better believe that that's one of the things that I will address immediately, to make sure that all women who are in a place of pause, rethinking their choices, and having some re-education in the way of schooling that might be available, or drug rehabilitation that might be available, so they can do that in a safe way and not have more trauma, because that is what happens so often in correctional facilities. Is just more trauma, not just for women, but for children, for our juveniles, and also for men, where it's not really safe to be in these situations where you're supposed to be having a pause and be able to look at yourself and better yourself and then join our society again. These are dangerous places oftentimes, where power over others is actually a form of currency. And you can better believe, as a governor, that I will be looking to protect everyone, men, women, and our young people. Not just the guards and not just the inmates, but also those people who lead these organizations, because they are also put in situations where they have to make decisions that are not really probably in their highest consciousness. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Collins?
Hi. I was not aware of the discrepancy in these numbers either. And like Holly said, these are kind of questions that are about women. And I thought we might be talking more about like homeless situation, crime, things like that I'm more interested in right now than the prison guard population. I was not aware when I was younger that, like being a prison guard was, or a correctional officer was a choice that I could make. When I was younger, it was, nurse, teacher, ballerina, something like that. But, I mean, I'm old, but, and I don't think that there should only be women correctional officers in women's prisons or just men correctional officers in men's prisons. So, you have to find that balance, and they have to be held accountable if they're committing crimes against people that are incarcerated. Just like, if a police officer or somebody that wears a badge commits a crime, they're just as liable to be prosecuted as someone that doesn't wear a badge. But we also need to support our police officers and correctional officers because their lives are in danger every day, and they put their lives on the line all the time for us. And I appreciate that. And maybe in another time we can talk about the homeless situation and the crime rates and things like that, droughts. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Mcgowan?
So yeah, these statistics are alarming, and I think that I would begin by speaking to women correctional officers to ask them, what the problem is and what the solution is, and then ask them to come up with who they would put in a position of power to oversee prison reform in many different ways. That's my solution.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that is the end of the questions. Christina, I was going to propose something. How do you feel about we let each candidate pick a question that they'd like all the candidates to ask? So we could go to Holly and say, Holly, what question do you think women candidates could ask? Holly would answer, and everybody would get answered. Then we go to candidate Collins. She picks a question she thinks all women candidates, and we go round robin. Do you like that idea, Christine? Is that workable?
I do. Is everybody in agreement?
Sure.
Okay. So,
Same order.
Okay. So I'll go first then. So my question for candidate Mcgowan and for Governor Heather is, how do you think we can get more women activated and involved in this recall election process so that we get more women choosing to say yes to the recall and then voting for one of us amazing women to become the governor?
Who's going first? I finally am not talking over someone because I actually respect women that are, badasses. I'm sorry, I'm going to let my competitor go. Heather.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm reading the question. Well, just by running for governor, I had to get so many people's signatures on the petitions to allow me to become governor. So I had to go out there, and most of my petitions were signed by women. And when they come into my business and they know that I'm running for governor, and they're excited that somebody they know is actually doing this, and we are badasses for doing this. We put our life, our butts on the line for this. So I'm proud of all of us for doing this, and I think this is a great start to help more women get involved in politics and local, state, and federal politics.
Thank you so much.
I think we're going to have to create a buzz and make it exciting, instead of dreadful. Women aren't turning the news on right now because they can't handle one more thing going wrong, and they don't want to live in fear, and they're trying to enjoy, their summer, hoping it all goes back to normal. And we have to figure out a way to get them excited about the fact that this is what I like to call a political black swan event. Okay. This is where someone can win this seat with 13 to 20% of the vote should Newsom get recalled. Now, I'm not a proponent of the recall. I did not sign that petition. I'm trying to run as an insurance policy against, someone with with, previous presidential values, okay? And I want to make sure that we get a woman in that seat instead. And so we have solutions. We care about people. We need to just inspire women, and we're all doing it right now. I can't tell you how many interns, that have been in and out of this, that leave here going, wow, Jackie, I'm so inspired. And it's starting to create a buzz. And whenever I'm talking to a man, I can see the younger women starting to crawl around going, what are they talking about? She's running for governor, and I know we're doing it right now. We're inspiring people. We're getting them back to paying attention, and we just have to keep fighting to get into the press. I'm being suppressed. I've done 7 interviews that haven't been printed. I've issued 8 press releases that no one's picked up. So I'm just going to go own social media and show our women that we can go have fun again, and we can go to the Capitol together, and we can fix this.
There is an event tomorrow at the state capitol. There's a rally that I will be at, and I would be welcome. I would really welcome you ladies joining me at 11 a.m. at the Capitol, and perhaps the 3 of us can stand up and get more attention together so our voices can be heard. I'll be there 11 o'clock at the state Capitol, protesting the mandates that are currently happening.
I might be able to meet you there.
I'll be on my pink roller skates.
I would love to be there, but at this notice, I'm in Los Angeles. I don't think I could get there by that time. But, I would be definitely interested in doing that in the future. And if we all can get together to have, like some cacao or cocktails, and I would love to all get together, talk about things like that with the other candidates, the males, the candidates included. So I think that would be great. May I propose a question now for the candidates?
Yes, please go.
Homelessness is a huge issue where I live and work. And I would like to know what your proposal for homelessness to fix this homeless crisis. It's almost FEMA levels. And I would like to hear your views on that. And then I would like to say mine afterwards.
Okay. Jackie, would you like to go first this time?
Sure. Homelessness needs a holistic approach. So we have to begin with treating the trauma that is causing, most of the people that are homeless to be drug addicts. Until we treat the trauma, we can't rehabilitate the person. We can't work on affordable housing at the same time, by rolling back regulations to make that more affordable. And then we need things like gap subsidies. Once somebody does get up and running, we need to be able to stabilize their lives as they are coming up. And that's how we would do it. And I would begin with legalizing psychedelics for research purposes, the same way Oregon has. Oregon just, paid attention to an emerging market that is showing very promising results for treating trauma. And we are letting that opportunity go by because of politics. So that's where I would start. And I wouldn't do the first move without starting to the entire process. So it's like 1, 2, 3. Get jobs going. Get people better. Build more infrastructure.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jackie. I'll take a turn. So the first day that I am elected into office, I will be immediately making any mask or vaccine mandates, COVID mandates, immediately illegal in our state. The second day that I am the governor, I will be ensuring that everybody that is homeless in our state is accounted for and begins to be relocated, but not in a bad way like relocated, but rather elevated into a place where they are seen, they're given shelter, they are given trauma assistance, they are given any sort of medication that they might need, especially food, all the things they might need. And I have a program called VBC. It's called Value-Based Currency. And that is a currency that uses state resources to give food and housing vouchers to anyone. And it's going to be created with an app. And the way that it works is that, for example, if you are a homeless person and you take a trash bag and you pick up some trash, you can take a picture because you're going to have a phone and you're not going to be homeless anymore, but you're going to be in a new place where you have access to connection. You can send that picture on your phone and you can get credit. You can get credit for other things that you might need that are resources. And in fact, anybody can do this. In fact, millionaires can do this. Anybody that wants to be a public servant can do that and get value-based currency. So we're going to diversify our currency. We're going to make sure that people can get things that they need that's not just money focused, but other resources. And the homeless situation has actually been created by the state. That's the thing that people don't understand. Our state of California has created the homeless crisis. It is larger than it's ever been under our current leadership, and it has been growing and growing. The state created it. It's the state's responsibility to address it immediately. And when I'm the governor, that will happen on day number 2, right after ending all of the mandates that are illegal, that are impinging on personal sovereignty. Thank you.
Okay, then I will give you my answer for this. And I agree with you, Holly, that there needs to be mandates for, we don't need mandates for masks and vaccines, but we need mandates for homelessness and the crime. And my solution for housing the homeless or sheltering the homeless, not really housing, because the housing that they're building now at $500,000 per single unit is ridiculous, because most people in the state couldn't even afford that. As working people, they can't afford to buy something that's like that. We're not going to give these to homeless people just because they're homeless. It's ridiculous. But I would like to have cities take over or build 8 to 10 story parking like structures that they would be sheltered from the sun and the rain. They would still have airflow going through. They would have an assigned space. They could go there with the community that they've formed, because they've all formed their communities on the streets. And just like we like our communities, they like their communities. And that's one of the reasons why these home key and room key projects fail, because they're separated from their communities. And that's important as a human, to have a community. So they can be in these structures. There can be security for them and security for the neighborhoods. Like, and it would be in an industrial or a downtown area, and they could have food, toilets, showers, laundry. If they need to get their GEDs, they can get their GEDs. If they need to get IDs, they can get IDs, because right now, if they don't have IDs, how are they going to go to a DMV to get an ID? They don't have paperwork. They don't have anything like that. There would be job training. There's all kinds of things they could do. Like Holly said, picking up trash. That's a job that they could easily do. And when they take pride in the community and take, like they've cleaned up something, they want it to stay that way. Just like, when we clean things, we like it to stay that way. We're really proud of what we've done. Bringing the humanity back to them and try to funnel them back into society at their pace, but in one central location. And then the places that feed the communities, they would have one place to go instead of spreading out all over the city trying to find the homeless communities there. But it's very cost effective, it's humane, and it gets them a lot more services for like GEDs, job training, and IDs that they're not getting if they go to home key. So that's my solution. I'm just putting it out there because if I don't become governor, I hope that somebody that's listening to this might appreciate that solution.
Thank you. Candidate Mcgowan, do you have a question for everyone?
I do. I would like to ask Holly and Heather, should you become the next governor of the 5th largest economy in the world, what does your day one look like?
Who would I go first, or Holly?
Sure, Heather,
Canada Bay?
why don't you go first and then
Okay.
I'll go.
Well, just like Holly, I would make it illegal to mandate masks, vaccines, and vaccine passports. And I would mandate that there should not be homelessness and refund the police. And let's clean up crime. We have to stop the whatever law that is that says if you steal under $950 worth of stuff, you're not going to be prosecuted. That's ridiculous. So those things have to go out. I'm going to cancel the governor's emergency order and AB5 all on my first day.
Thank you. Candidate Beatty?
Thank you so much for asking this very important question. The first day that I am the governor of the state of California, I will live into the name of being the governor for the people. And just as Heather said, yes, the mandates, the illegal action will be ended immediately, but also I'll take one step further. As the governor is the top cop of the state, I also will ensure that those who are responsible for those mandates are arrested. There are going to be people that are really happy when I take the seat as governor, and there are going to be some people that are really not happy that I've won. But that is going to actually happen. And when that occurs, we will also not just be hasty in our next steps, because what I feel is so important is to listen to the people. Listen how many wonderful ideas Heather just had about homelessness. Listen to all the great ideas that Jackie has about psychedelic use and cannabis use and so many other things. I'm sure she has a million things to offer about the economy with her background in finance. And what I think is so important is to understand that we have collectively all of the solutions to all of our most pressing challenges, but we're not listening to each other and we're not listening to our hearts. We're listening to corporate titans that have an agenda to depopulate the planet, and they have used and already corrupted our government system, so that they are using our government now as their personal police and their personal enforcers of their agenda. I think it's really important to understand that the people, just like the people anywhere, what is really important to us? We want to be able to have a garden. We want to be able to have a home. We want to be able to take food from our garden and cook it for our family. And we want to sit and we want to bless our table. We want to have experiences with our family on the weekends after working hard. We want to enjoy the work we do. We want to have our voice matter when we're at work. We want to offer our creative ideas. We want to flourish. We want to live. We want to love. We want to bring love to life. And we know how to do this. We know how to do this if we work together and if we enable one another. And so you can guarantee that when I am the governor of the state of California, we will begin the journey to allowing California to be a leader, to turn the tide. We will stand. We will say no to what's happening, and we will turn the tide. We will open up our state. We will open up our country, and we will open up the entire world. We will act as the leaders, inspiring a shared vision and modeling the way.
Candidate Collins?
Oh, I already answered that.
Sorry, I
Jackie
mean,
needs to answer.
yeah,
Candidate Mcgowan.
Candidate Mcgowan.
So I worked on Wall Street for 18 years. And then I worked at a lobbying firm in Sacramento where I did local lobbying, protecting small businesses from overregulation in the cannabis industry. And my firm really wanted to promote me to become a state lobbyist, and I refused after I saw what went on. I said, I spent 18 years on Wall Street and you guys are dirtier. And I said, no, thank you. And that has led me to dream of, getting in that seat and saying, dear lobbyists, I only plan on being governor for 1 year. You can go home. I'm going to go work for the people. And so day one, I issued 3 executive orders for the industry that sent me here, the cannabis industry. that is suffering and being used as a political football year after year after year, after being used as an issue to get elected. So I issued 3 executive orders day one. I lowered the excise tax on cannabis from 15 to 10%, pending an LAO analysis of whether or not it can go lower. I eliminate the cultivation tax in order number 2. And in order number 3, I declare cannabis ag so I can start to see some relief from what the industry is going through at the local level and with the dual licensing process. And that's how I start. And then I go to work for everyone else.
Thank you. So for the closing statements, you have 2 minutes. Let's start with candidate Mcgowan.
I really want women to know that I would vote for one of these 2 here if I wasn't voting for myself. And the most exciting part of this journey has been connecting with so many incredible women. You know, they really were the ones signing my petition when I had to gather signatures the most. And many didn't agree with the recall. And I said I didn't sign the recall petition. You know, I'm just trying to get in this to, you know, ensure that we have an option, because this isn't being taken seriously. And it is a political black swan event. Okay. So we just need to continue to inspire women. And if one of us gets in that seat, we just start appointing women to a bunch of positions and start to fix things.
Thank you. Candidate Collins.
Thank you. Well, I'm Heather Collins. I'm running for governor of California in the recall election of Gavin Newsom. I am the leading Green Party woman candidate for governor, and with your help and your vote, I'll be proud to be California's first woman governor, if it's not one of these other ladies. And I'm a business owner. I've been professionally and personally impacted by Newsom's mandates. And I agree with Jackie that the cannabis industry is way overtaxed. Like, I have a cannabis store right next to my salon, and they are great neighbors. I know that they are way overtaxed, overregulated. I don't know why they can't be treated like a liquor store or something like that. I mean, I believe they're one of the most taxed businesses in the state. And they're suffering from the illegal marijuana stores too. I listen to people and I can make decisions. And like I said, we don't need mandates for masks or vaccines. We need mandates for crimes and for homelessness. And visit me at governorheather.com.
Thank you. Candidate Beatty.
Thank you so much, Christine, for being such a wonderful moderator. It's been wonderful to be in your presence. Thank you, Marcus and Jackie and Heather. So nice to meet you, Heather. And I love it every time I'm on a debate and you're there, Jackie. It's just super, super fun. We've been on a couple so far. You know, one of the things that Marcus said in the beginning of this experience is that Governor Newsom keeps referring to California as a virtual nation state, and that whoever is the governor is a ruler. He didn't necessarily say that, Marcus didn't say that who's ever in a seat is a ruler, but that the position should be seen as, you know, being able to rule. And I think one thing that really distinguishes me as a candidate from all of the other candidates is that I really see that it's essential to not use executive power to push my own agenda. And rather, I think that while we need to use the executive power during the state of emergency, the emergency we're having with homelessness and with unemployment and with crime and with droughts and with fire, we need to back off of executive power being used to push any agenda. As important as the agenda of cannabis is, and I definitely agree wholeheartedly with what Jackie has to say about that. However, I think what's really important is that we work to actually amplify our collective body as a citizen base, and to show how policy is being made, and to actually illuminate what Jackie was alluding to with the dishonesty that happens not just in the lobbyists, but in how money is funneled to candidates, and how there is such a beholdenness to these power brokers, to a predatory class. But really, what I want to say in summary is that I'm a mom. I've been a single mother since my children were 5 and 3. I left a marriage where I had a lot of wealth. My husband and I had 2 houses, we had 2 cars, we had 2 kids, we had a dog and a cat. We had the dream that I was told that I was supposed to find, but I felt something was missing in that experience. My husband did have anger management issues, and I did feel abused and afraid in that relationship, like a lot of women find themselves in with young children, not knowing what to do. But I also felt like I had lost some aspect of myself along the way, trying to fit in to whatever else I was being asked to be that wasn't me, so that I was seen as successful. And I think women are asked to do this. I also believe that men in our culture are asked to do this. I also think our blended beings are asked to do this. I have been a single mother. I have at times been on welfare. I have, like sat outside the EBT office with tears, not knowing how I was going to feed my kids and figuring that out. I have been in places where I would save up all my money and take my camping on the weekend, and I would sleep in my car during the week. I have done work for jobs that I did not feel that honored who I was, so that I could make things work. I have also opened yoga studio 3 times and been very successful. I have been a highly sought after teacher throughout the state for yoga and for spiritual teaching. And on top of that, I have been a leadership development consultant for more than 12 state agencies in the state of California. I've actually had executives in the state of California come to me for advice on how to lead their teams and how to build better processes in the state that they were in charge of. I've been in the depths of leadership in our state. I feel that I have a breadth of experience and a wealth of personal growth. I've gone from that welfare moment to being a very successful business person and a leader in my community. And you cannot buy that kind of experience. It doesn't come to you from generational wealth. It only comes to you because you have day in and day out chosen to be resilient and to keep loving and to keep striving and be a great role model for your children. And that's why the people of California should choose me. I am the governor for the people. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for all of our candidates for your time today. Turn it over to Marcus.
Christine, thank you so much for driving this and managing the questions and being here to represent California at this debate. Thank you all for watching this Yes California special debate of all women candidates. Just a few closing comments. I find it interesting that we reached out to all of the women candidates, and yet every single conservative candidate couldn't manage to show up today, although they said they would. And every single progressive party candidate did manage to show up. That's now a statistical fact. I don't know what that means, but it's interesting. The other thing is to recognize it's the year 2021. Women are over half the population. And yet here in California, we've had almost no coverage of any of the women candidates. It's the year 2021 in California. Women are over half the population, and yet we Californians can't provide any good, meaningful coverage of any of the women candidates. What does that say? Let's take another look at this. Kamala Harris, one of the most famous female politicians here. Now, say what you will about her, she polled at only 7% in California. First woman presidential candidate in California history, 7% support out of all of California. Let's take a look at this. Nevada has 54% women in their government. Colorado, 44%. Oregon, 43%. Washington, 41%. California, for the last 10 plus years, has been stuck at 32%. For the last decade's worth of time, we have not been able to go above 32%, while nearly every bordering state is doing better than us. Are we a progressive state for women? How come we couldn't support a female presidential candidate? Why can't we talk about women candidates in the year 2021 when we have rovers on Mars? And why do we do so horribly and seem to have plateaued at 1/3 female representation when literally everyone around us does better? Please take a second to think that perhaps we're not a liberal bastion that supports women that we like to hold ourselves up to be. I'm glad to be able to hold this debate because I think we're helping to fight back against the issue. A little bit of housekeeping. All the questions come from PPIC and LAO. These are the links that they came from. We pulled hard data asking questions about how women operated here in California. I want to thank all the candidates for being here. Thank you for participating. Please keep running. Please do not listen to anybody who tells you not to run. Do it and keep going and never stop and never listen to anybody who says you don't have the money or this or that, because that's what they want. They don't want you running. They don't want regular people in. We've seen that. Don't listen to them. Jackie?
I always forget to promote my website and say, sign up please at jackieforgov.org, JACKIE, the number 4, GOV.org, and kick in some small donations. I want to be the voice of the people. I'm not taking big money. And I don't need big money to win this. I just need to win the hearts and minds of women and minorities and everyone that's suffering right now. Big business, small business, all of it. Like, small donations are going to go a long way and keep me going.
Yeah, thank you so
you all
much.
for being here.
Thank you so much, Marcus and Christine. Thank you.
Holly,
Nice
Holly,
meeting all of you.
2021. Thanks so much.
We'll end it there. And thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you.